Hi everyone, SpiderMan 1991 here to do my comic reviews for the week. This week's comics came out March 6, 2013, first week of March, and usually whenever I get an equal amount of DC and Marvel comics, I like to flip a coin to decide who goes first, so... Alright, heads, DC goes first, tails, Marvel. And heads, DC. Alright, so starting off with DC, we have Smallville, Season 11, Number 11. Part 3 of the Haunted story arc. In this issue, Superman and Impulse are able to track down Jay Garrick to a house in Utah. And they learn, and Jay pretty much informs them about the Speed Force and how his leg was broken back when the government shut down the JSA, and he hasn't gotten it fixed since because he feared the Black Racer, and Jay doesn't have any intention of fixing his leg, mainly because he's worried about dying. And while this is going on, and while Clark and Bart are getting acquainted with Jay, the Black Racer is still causing several speed storms across the world. He's basically feeding off people's life forces until he can consume a speedster. And starting to get out of hand, and so Star Labs pretty much sends Superman a new suit that's capable of absorbing the excess speed energy, so that way he could draw the Black Racer to him and hopefully defeat him without having to, without Bart or Jay dying. And right after Clark gets the suit, he puts it on, goes to fight the Black Racer, but then Bart races after him a few minutes later because Clark's pretty much the only family he has, and he can't let him die. So, and that's pretty much where it ends for them. And also, while this is going on, Chloe's getting more flashbacks to what happened, pretty much flashbacks of her Earth 2 counterpart's life, which in Smallville, in the Smallville universe, Earth 2 is pretty much the Clark Luthor reality, and so you get to see a little bit of what that was like before Clark Kent actually visited there. I'd say Haunted. Well, I have to admit, this is kind of similar to what happened to Barry Allen when he first met Jay Garrick. Jay was retired, and Barry had to get him out of retirement. Hopefully, this will be the event that could convince Jay Garrick to get out of retirement, which I hope happens because, I don't know, hearing that Jay didn't exactly heal his leg or anything, and just gave up, I don't like that, because out of the members of the Justice Society, Jay Garrick is my favorite. I really hope he does get back in the game after this story arc, and I think maybe after this will be the moment where Bart probably takes on the Flash mantle. That's a theory of mine of what's going to happen when this concludes. Yeah, and I'm still interested to know what happened on Earth 2, so, So I'm actually interested in Earth 2, in what happens on Earth 2 in Smallville because of the flashbacks Chloe experienced. So I look forward to that. This is still an amazing series. I think anyone who liked Smallville should be reading this because it's a great series. Okay, next up, Superman number 17. The conclusion to Hell on Earth. The issue opens up with Superman meeting the Oracle, which is this big thing in the center of the cover, and pretty much Superman asks the Oracle, like, why are you here and stuff, but then the Oracle gives him, like, flashes of stuff, of Krypton in the past and other stuff, and then it just disappears. Pretty uneventful. Then Superman heads back to Earth. He fights Hell while Superboy uses his tactile telekinesis to try to destroy the star drive that's powering this Hell's ship so it can go back in time. Superboy does destroy the star drive. However, Hell's ship is now fully fueled, and Hell gets ready to leave the present until Kara says she wants to go with him. She sees the truth in him, but that's just all a ruse. And when she gets close enough, she stabs Hell with the kryptonite shard Superman was originally going to use. And And also, the reason Kara stabbed him was because it turns out Hell was controlling the portals all along, and she figured the only way to end this is to kill him. And right as he's dying, he falls through one of the portals, and that's the last we see of Hell in the present. And Superman takes Supergirl to get some medical attention because she's been around green kryptonite. You know what that stuff does. And the Oracle officially leaves. I know I said it before, but apparently it stuck around a little bit to watch how things played out. Then it disappeared. And the last page of the issue reveals that Hell wound up on Krypton many years before Superman was born. And he's found in a cave by a young college student looking Jor-El. Okay, Superman Hell on Earth. Well, I'll have to admit, first of all, Oracle wasn't really necessary. It just stood there as the Oracle just felt like DC's version of the Watcher, where it would just observe and nothing would happen. And it just pretty much, the Oracle is just there just as a purpose to foreshadow, like, yeah, the past has been altered now with Hell's presence. There's going to be ramifications for this in a future story arc. That's just its entire purpose. The conclusion to Hell on Earth, though, wasn't terrible, but it wasn't exactly groundbreaking. I'll be honest with that. The only positive thing I can say about the entire Hell on Earth saga is the entire Superman family actually meeting for once, which is good because I really want to see the interaction between Superboy and Superman since the New 52 began. So I got that. That's probably the only good thing to come out of this story arc. That's it. Just if you wanted to see the Superman family involved in a story arc together, then you should check this out. But other than that, I really can't recommend it. Okay, moving right along. Animal Man, number 18. The epilogue to Rot World. The entities of the Rot are able to send Buddy Baker back in time before Rot World, and right at the moment where Maxine was going to make a deal with the hunters of the Rot. But fortunately, Buddy arrives just in time before the deal's finalized. He fights the hunters until Maxine uses her powers to apparently restore the hunters to their original forms before they were infected by the Rot. And so they're saved, everyone's saved, but unfortunately, William Arcane, the little nephew of Arcane, the avatar of the Rot, is still there, and he attacks Buddy from behind, but he's stopped by Buddy's son Cliff, but unfortunately, Cliff dies while stopping William Arcane, and also William Arcane dies too. But the main focus here is that while Buddy was able to save his daughter, he was unable to save his son, and hence that is why this is the most tragic day in Buddy Baker's life. I gotta ask, why is DC killing off superheroes' kids? Last week it was Damian. This week it's Cliff. Who's left? Who's gonna die next week? I mean, I don't know. I just hate it when, comic book companies, they give their heroes kids and then suddenly they just decide, okay, let's kill them. Like, why? I mean, yeah, I get it for the story arc drama, but I mean, come on. I think this is ridiculous. Why get... if you're trying to give the message that it is dangerous for superheroes to have kids, then don't give them kids in the first place or something. I guess, I don't know. The reason why, as far as an epilogue, but back to the main issue, as far as an epilogue to Rot World goes, it's good to know that when Jeff Lemire wrote this, he didn't just... send them back in time and go, oh, hey, they fixed everything, da-di-da-di-da. No, there were consequences of that action. So, in a way, I guess it did help the story, but, I don't know, I'm just a little disappointed that, once again, DC decides to kill off another superhero's kid. That's really all I have to say about that, but, overall, yeah, I'm going to stick with Animal Man, and I want to see what the ramifications of Cliff's death lead to Buddy, because the way because right before Cliff, William Arcane attacked them, it seemed like Ellen Ellen, Buddy's wife, was having a hard time forgiving him for everything that's happened. So it is a possibility that she might, and this is just a total theory of mine, but she might divorce Buddy and maybe take Maxine with her. That is a strong possibility of what I'm getting here, and I want to read, and I kind of want to read the rest of Animal Man now just to see if that's true or not. But overall, I think if you liked Rot World and you read Animal Man, and you read the Red Kingdom side of Rot World, then you should definitely pick this up because it's a good epilogue. Okay, moving along. Green Lantern number 18. The imprisoned Guardians and Bedig are able to use Blackhand's Black Ring to access the Dead Zone and pull Simon Boz back, since Simon still has his Green Lantern ring. And as they're pulling Boz out, Simon doesn't want to leave without Hal Jordan, so his ring duplicates itself, and the ring does locate Hal. But unfortunately, Sinestro pulls a major bitch move, he and Hal Jordan get in a fight, and Sinestro grabs the ring, and so pretty much Bedig is able to save Boz and Sinestro, but no Hal Jordan. And also Blackhand was sent to the Dead Zone. So right when Blackhand falls into the Dead Zone, he's unconscious. So Hal Jordan gets the idea that, maybe I could use his Black Ring to get out of here, but Hal can't use it because technically, as it turns out in this issue, even though Hal and Sinestro were in the Dead Zone, they're technically still alive. They still have a part of them is still alive in the real world. So Hal thinks I could use the Black Ring, but Tomore, who's pretty much a ghost in this issue, says you can't use it, you're not dead. And then Hal looks over at Clifton and thinks, what if I was dead? So yeah, nice little callback to what the Book of Black revealed before. I think it was way back in around issues 10 or 12 that said Hal Jordan will be the greatest Black Lantern ever. So I think that's what this is going to lead into, Hal possibly dying again so that he can use the Black Ring to get out of the Dead Zone. As far as Wrath of the First Lantern goes on the Green Lantern side, this is the only tie-in I'm getting for Wrath of the First Lantern, but I'm liking it so far. And as far as whether or not Hal Jordan is going to die for good, no, I don't think Hal is going to die. I really doubt that's how Jeff Johns would end his run, with Hal Jordan dying. Well, technically he is going to have to die to get the Black Ring to work, but it's not going to be good, okay? I guarantee you that at the end of the story arc, Hal's still going to be alive. As far as Sinestro being a Green Lantern, well, I think after this story arc, Sinestro might have to surrender his green ring. Just saying that the guy is more suited to yellow than green. And I really think that's proven in this issue, where you can really see that Sinestro's actions right when he's fighting Jordan, that he is really more of a man of intimidation than will. Okay, next up, Green Arrow number 18. I am really loving this series. Okay, picking up from last issue, Oliver is pretty much a man on the run now because he's been accused of killing the CEO of Queen Industries, and so he makes a phone call to Steve Trevor, and he's able to buy him some time to get out of the city and stuff. And so after Oliver calls Steve Trevor, he goes to seek the aid of a former Q-Corps employee called Henry Fifth. And meanwhile, while Oliver's pretty much trying to get his act together, it's revealed that the archer here, Komodo, the one that talked to Oliver, is actually holding Jax and Naomi hostage. But unfortunately, Jax doesn't listen to Komodo. Komodo wants them to help him find Oliver, but Jax doesn't listen, so he kills Jax, and then Naomi agrees to help him find Oliver. But back in Seattle, Oliver goes to Emerson's office because the guy who helped him escape Komodo last issue, Magus, left him a note that said, "Look in Emerson's office," and he finds the classic room behind a bookcase, which is filled with a bunch of ancient armor and ancient weapons, and there's info and maps about the island Oliver was trapped on. And right when Oliver finds this stuff, Magus appears again and tells Oliver that he needs to get to Black Mesa immediately so he can begin his journey, and also then Fifth contacts Oliver and tells him that the police have been spotted and they're near his location. So Green Arrow tries to escape the building using the zip line arrow. Unfortunately, Komodo's there as well, and he cuts the line with another arrow. And that's how the issue ends. Okay, Green Arrow number 18. I am really loving this series. Seriously, this series has been great since Jeff Lemire took over. I mean, if you read the first couple of issues of this and you thought, oh man, this isn't really that good, well, I recommend you pick up the last issue, number 17, and this one, because trust me, you're gonna like this. And I do like I like the throwback to Oliver on the island, that, you know, it wasn't an accident that he was. I like how Jeff Lemire is trying to, you know, make it seem like Oliver being trapped on the island wasn't an accident. It was something that was planned, and we're getting into some big secret that Oliver's dad kept. And all of these elements, the island, Oliver's dad having a big secret, it's a great sort of way. It's kind of parallels what's going on in Arrow, the TV series. So I think I think this story is a great way for fans of the TV series to get into the comic book. I think it's a great opportunity, and if you liked Arrow, you should definitely check out the Green Arrow comic book because it's awesome. Okay, now it's time for Marvel. Starting off with Iron Man number 7. A rogue recorder named 451 meets with Tony Stark in his jail cell and gives him some legal advice for his trial, which, as we know from last issue, Tony Stark is accused of killing the Phoenix. And so when Tony goes to court, he uses 451's advice, which is to stall using the right of let me see if I'm saying this right, Shea Run, which is sort of a trial by combat. And 451 tells Tony that his plan is Tony stalls with this trial by combat, and he goes to get Tony's Iron Man armor. But while Tony's able to hold his own, fighting off whatever soldiers the government sends at him, 451 is actually breaking into the chamber called the Heart of the Voldy. So it seems like he has his own hidden agenda instead of helping Tony. And the issue ends with after Tony defeating a bunch of standard soldiers, he's suddenly confronted by this huge dude in armor, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, Iron Man number 7. Not really. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not exactly noteworthy. I mean, just right now, I can tell that the whole God Killer story arc it's just tying up some loose ends of Avengers vs. X-Men, which in this case is Tony annihilating the Phoenix with the Phoenix Buster armor. Well, he didn't annihilate, he just split into 5 parts, and, you know, but, yeah, I mean, right now, this story arc just seems kind of dull, and just, if you want to know, something, if you're like a real big fan of Avengers vs. X-Men, then maybe you should give this a try since this is an Aftermath story arc. But if you really don't care, like, okay, Avengers vs. X-Men is over, I don't really need to get any Aftermaths, then you can skip this. Really, if you have no interest in hearing how Tony's trying to escape space prison, then just, you can skip it. Skip this issue and possibly next issue, depending on how it concludes. Alright, next book is Age of Ultron, Book 1. This issue can be summarized as Hawkeye saving Spider-Man from the Owl and Hammerhead while they're in the middle of an Ultron-controlled New York City. And also while they're being chased by Ultron Sentinels, Hawkeye and Spider-Man make it to the hero's base, which is actually the ruins of a helicarrier in Central Park. And right when they get in, all the heroes, Iron Man is testing them both to make sure they're not infected by Ultron. and they're pretty much taking the bunker and stuff where Clint says we have no plan, but Tony says he's working on one, and Clint's like, yeah, how's that going for him? And the issue ends with a shot of pretty much emotionally broken Captain America sitting in the corner. Like, he's sitting in the corner, he has his head tucked in his arms and his knees, and we see like pieces of the shattered shield near him. So yeah, Age of Ultron. I gotta be honest, this was kind of a weak opening. I mean, yeah, it has tons of action, which is good, but it's mostly centered on Hawkeye. Also, how exactly did Ultron take over so fast? That's what I'm wondering. I mean, I think I'm gonna have to go back and read Avengers 12.1, which was like the prologue to this, but I really don't think there was any other kind of background or lead up to this that we received. If I'm wrong, tell me, but if not, it just pretty much throws you right in the middle of Ultron taking over. That's it. Also, I do one positive thing I do like about this. I do like this foil cover because it looks nice, really great. And the artwork in the book itself isn't terrible. It's actually very nice. But yeah, as far as an openings issue, this felt kind of weak. Just it felt heavy on the action, but not enough on the plot. Okay, next up, Avengers number 7. The last White event begins, and pretty much this issue is just informing everyone what the White event is, who the new Adam actually is. He's actually some sort of herald to the event called Night Mask, and he says that there's supposed to be other heralds, and the Avengers go to locate the next one, which is one called Starbrand, and that's pretty much what happens. A big, informative type issue about what the whole White event story arc is going to be about. Well, I thought I wasn't going to like Avengers, and I have been enjoying it, so I am going to give this story arc a shot. But the way this issue progressed, it felt really slow with progression, like a lot. Trust me, they teased who this herald would be, like through several flashbacks. But then when we get to who he is, I'm like, okay, I didn't see that coming. So. It's right now. This is okay, but I don't know. It feels like this story arc may take a little while than the last few. So here's hoping that this actually turns out. This may have a weak beginning, but hopefully it'll have a great end. All right, next up, a series I've really been enjoying: All New XMen number 8. Angel and Warren help the Avengers stop an attack by Hydra in the middle of Manhattan, and right after the fight, Captain America and some of the other Avengers go back to the Jean Grey school with Angel and Warren, where Captain America talks to Beast. And while Cap and Beast are talking, Scott Summers pretty much just walks up to Captain America, tells him, like, I've been researching what's been going on in recent events. I understand your concerns, and I promise you that I'm going to do everything to make this right. And he just walks away, and when he walks away, Wolverine's like, well played, thanks. And so Captain America just says to Hank, like, keep me in the loop, just tell me if anything goes to hell, that sort of stuff. And right after Cap and the Avengers leave, an alarm goes off letting everyone know that someone's breaking into Beast's lab. And we see that person is Warren. And Warren is trying to access the time machine so he can go back and get away from the X-Men, because after seeing what his future self is, he's really, really freaked out. He's pretty much having an emotional breakdown, but then suddenly he's just calm, and it's like it never happened. He's just like, I don't want to stay here. I'm freaked out, man. Freaked out. And hey, what's for lunch? Like that's what Warren's like, and everyone's little surprised by this, and they all look in the doorway and they see Jean, and she says, Warren needed to calm down, so I helped him. And first Henry's just like, Jean, that's not a good idea. Henry, don't lecture me about, using my God-given abilities for my own personal reasons, okay? And she says that, and before leaving, Jean says, just to say I can't read everyone's minds, and yes, I have everything under control. But everyone still looks worried. And that's where the issue and that's where this ends. Really, this was actually a very good episode. I really liked Jean's appearance at the end. How it definitely seems like Jean's pretty much discovering all the power she had at an earlier age, because she didn't know she could read minds until just recently. So now she's definitely taking advantage of that ability. Wow, the last page was really, really interesting, and it does give you some concerns about whether or not this Jean is actually going to become Dark Phoenix, or at least become a major threat, at least, because Phoenix Force we can eliminate right now, but man, the thing with Jean at the end was just a little scary. And also, Warren, when all the other original X-Men were voting about whether or not they should stay, Warren was the only one who said no. So, pretty much now that whole odd man out thing finally takes its toll on him, but again, it's negated by Jean, and I thought that was very interesting seeing Warren's reaction to everything, because he didn't want to know, he wanted to go home, and he was right. It definitely makes you think like, okay, they should have gone home, but now they're not, so they're definitely going to stay. And I was really impressed by what Scott did. He walked up to Captain America, said, I know you're concerned, I'm going to fix this, alright? So, I was impressed by that for Scott. But yeah, All New X-Men is a very great X-Men series. If you can only get one X-book right now, I would definitely recommend this one. It's pretty awesome. Alright, now for my favorite Marvel book, The Superior Spider-Man. Alright, after Spider-Man gets the facial recognition software installed in his mask, and also he sends it to all his spider bots, Otto goes to meet with the tutor he kind of met last issue to help him with the class he's taken so he could get Peter's doctorate. And the tutoring seems to be going well for Otto. And then after leaving, one of the spider bots locates Massacre. And also at the start of the issue, Massacre, he makes a deal with this CEO to wear the logo of her competitor when he kills people, so that way it will give people like a negative feeling for the company in exchange for $12 million. And so Spider-Man locates Massacre. He tracks him down. Before actually going to Massacre, he stops and saves another group of hostages that Massacre set aside just as a sort of security method. What's the term I was going to use? Backup plan in case things go wrong. But so he saves the other hostages, then takes care of the big dog. Peter Parker is still a ghost in this. He's still sort of subconsciously controlling Otto's every action. Like right when he shows up, Peter's like, "No, Otto, quick, save that child, quick!" And suddenly Otto just saves the kid, and he's like, "Wait, I didn't do that. What happened?" And so basically, it gets into this huge fight, but ultimately, Otto's able to knock Massacre aside, get one of his guns, then shoot Massacre in the shoulder, and he holds a gun right up to Massacre. And right when this is happening, Massacre suddenly starts to feel fear for the first time, and he starts to feel other emotions. And because the story about Massacre is that he was in a car accident, like the entire right side of his brain was destroyed, causing him to feel no empathy for anything. Well, now he's starting to get those feelings back. And when that happens, Peter, again, he's trying to talk Otto Octavius out of this by saying, look, he's feeling stuff again. He can change. You don't have to do this. But Otto doesn't listen. He says, once a killer, always a killer, and shoots him in the head. Okay, they don't actually show him shooting the head. They just have, like, this sort of shot with Spider-Man holding the gun out, and you hear a loud bam, and that's where it ends. So, and also later, Otto sends the spider bots to attack. The conclusion of the issue, it concludes with Otto sending the spider bots to attack the CEO that made the deal with Massacre, because according to Otto, he declares that his power and his responsibility is to judge everyone in the city. So yeah, I really think this was definitely a good issue. And when I say good, I mean it definitely proves to you that once and for all that Spider-Man isn't really a mantle that can be passed down. It is something. There is a difference. There is a real difference between Peter and Otto. And that while Otto may be able to may be more efficient, maybe more effective Spider-Man, he's just no way superior than Peter Parker. Yeah, overall, well-written issue. Dan Slott is doing an amazing job on this series, and a lot of people were really thumbing down this issue, mainly for the cover, which was Spider-Man holding a gun. I mean, I'll be honest, that is a little... Spider-Man holding a gun can be kind of a downer, but those people, eventually, the issue got tons of praise. Dan Slott was retweeting it on his Twitter feed, so, he understands that people do not like how Dr. Octopus took over Peter Parker's body and left him for dead so that he could become the new hero. Obviously, this isn't going to last long, especially if you read the May solicitations, but right now though, he's still doing a great job on this series. He's delivering a storyline that is really amazing. It's awesome. I would definitely recommend this. If you've really been skeptical about Superior Spider-Man since Amazing 700, then I would say you should start picking this series up because it is really amazing and it really is the best Marvel book out there in my opinion. Okay, quick recap. Superior Spider-Man number 5. Awesome. Really loving this series. Can't wait for next issue. All New X-Men number 8. Very nice X-Men series. Really like how Jean Grey on the final page. Can't wait to see how that works out. Avengers number 7. Kind of a weak opening. Hopefully the rest of the story will be better. Age of Ultron number 1. First issue just dives you right into the action. Not really much on the plot though. All we know is that Ultron took over. Iron Man number 7. Middle of the God Killer story arc. Hopefully this issue the story arc can wrap up next issue and we'll be done with it. Green Arrow number 18. Really loving this title since Jeff Lemire came along. If you love the Arrow TV show, you should definitely check out this series right now. Green Lantern number 18. Sinestro pulls a major bitch move and leaves Hal Jordan trapped in the dead zone. Really hope Hal gets out of there and becomes a GL again. Animal Man number 18. Buddy Baker survived Rot World, defeated the Hunters, but not without a big loss. Can't wait to see how that affects him for the next couple of issues. Superman number 17. A not very satisfying ending to the very less than Dynamite Hell on Earth story arc. And Smallville season 11 number 11. Really liking this Impulse Flash story arc. Can't wait to read the rest of it. If you love Smallville, you should definitely check this series out. And that's it for this week's comic reviews. Sorry for all the camera dying and everything with the review. Probably going to get a new one soon. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.